Have you ever wondered that thousands of years ago, when the world was living in caves, people in India were counting the stars? Do you know that before Pythagoras, the rules of triangles were being made here? And is it easy to believe that Ayurveda had its roots in a time when there was no name of medical science in the world? Hello, welcome to my channel. Today we will read about the world of the Vedic period, which not only laid the foundation of Indian culture but also surprised everyone with its discoveries. Introduction to the Vedic period. So, what is the Vedic period? It was the time when the Indo-Aryan people settled in the northwestern parts of India, especially the Indus Valley and the Gangatic plains. These people brought with them a rich oral tradition, which gave us the Vedas, the oldest sacred texts in the world. But the Vedic period is not just a story from old books. It is the story of a society that laid the foundations of philosophy, religion, and even science that still influence us today. Let's understand it step by step. Sources of the Vedic period. Whatever we know about the Vedic period comes primarily from the Vedas, the Rigveda, the Samaveda, the Yajurveda, and the Atharvaveda. Of these, the Rigveda is the oldest, containing over 1,000 hymns dedicated to gods like Indra, Agni, and Soma. These texts were not initially written down, they were orally transferred from generation to generation, without mistaking a word. Imagine memorizing thousands of verses, without a single mistake. What a disciplined society this must have been. Later, there came texts like the Brahmanas, Aranyakas, and Upanishads, which explained rituals, philosophy, and spiritual questions in more depth. These texts are not just religious, they give a glimpse into the thought, life, and social structure of the people of that time. Social and economic structure. Now let's talk about daily life in the Vedic period. Imagine small villages where people lived in close proximity, raised animals, and grew crops like barley. Cattle were not just animals back then. They were a form of wealth, prestige, and even currency. If you had a lot of cows, you were the richest person in your tribe. The economy was primarily based on animal husbandry and agriculture, and trade was conducted through a barter system. Society was organized into clans called janas, which were led by kings or chieftains. There was no rigid caste system, but social stratifications were beginning, with Brahmans, priests, and Kshatriyas, warriors, at the top. An interesting thing, women had more freedom at that time than later. They participated in rituals and even composed some of the hymns of the Rigveda. In this, the example of Gargi and Lopamudra can be taken. Religion and rituals. Religion was the heart of Vedic society. The Indo-Aryans worshipped several gods: Indra, the god of war; Agni, the god of fire; and Varuna, the protector of cosmic order. Agni Yagya, or fire sacrifice, was the center of their spiritual life. These were not just rituals, they were a way to maintain balance in the world and connect with divine powers. Interestingly, over time these rituals became more complex, and the role of priests increased. This was the time when philosophical texts like the Upanishads arose, asking big questions: who are we? What is the purpose of life? These ideas still influence our thinking today. Political and cultural development. Politically, the Vedic period was a time of small tribal units. Kings or chieftains led these tribes, but they were not autocratic kings. They worked together with assemblies like Sabhas and Samiti, where people from the community could voice their opinions. Sounds pretty democratic for 1500 BCE, right? Culturally, this period was a time of mingling. The Indo-Aryan people mingled with the local cultures, giving rise to a unique art, language, and even early scientific ideas, such as astronomy and mathematics, which we find in the Vedic texts. The Sanskrit language became the cornerstone of Indian literature and culture during this time. Were our ancestors counting stars in Vedic times? 27 nakshatras in Rigveda, Pythagoras' theorem already present in Shulba Sutra. The Atharvaveda describes Ayurveda, geometric sacrificial altars, copper tools. It was an amazing science. Details of the Vedic period. To understand the Vedic period, it is important to look at some nuances. First, this period was not just of Indo-Aryan culture, it was also a time of cultural interaction with local Dravidian and other cultures. For example, some Vedic deities and rituals were influenced by local traditions. Second, Vedic society had a deep connection with the environment. Rivers, forests, and natural elements were considered sacred, which appears repeatedly in their texts. Third, the Vedic period also saw the beginnings of science. The Rigveda mentions planets and constellations, which suggests that people of that time were trying to understand astronomy. And last but not least, the Vedic period had social mobility. Although the caste system later became strict, social classes were not yet fully established at this time. These nuances help us understand the complexity and richness of the Vedic period. Legacy of the Vedic period. So, why does the Vedic period matter to us today? It is like the roots of a giant tree that is still growing today. The ideas of the Vedas, dharma, karma and moksha form the basis of modern Hinduism. These were not just religious ideas, they were a philosophy of life that inspires us even today. Moreover, the Vedic period gave us an identity, language and culture that shaped India for centuries. It reminds us that history is not just the past, it is a living part of our present. How did you like this journey of Vedic period? Did you enjoy it? So tell us in the comment below what should be the next topic. Like, subscribe, and press the bell icon hard, otherwise you will miss such secrets of history. Come on, see you again.